kind of back up here in the mountains. Got a little snow last night, or yesterday and last night. But I got up here pretty late yesterday afternoon. And it was snowing like crazy, big flakes. At times it got down to where it was smaller stuff, but there was times it was really come down. And then about, I think it was around 7 o'clock, it actually was raining. So it rained for quite a while. I think it kind of went back and forth a little bit throughout the evening and into the night, but we even had a little bit of wind. Some pretty good gusts come through, just short ones, and then it'd be calm for a little bit and then it'd come back. But kind of interesting night. It's kind of fun. I enjoyed it. So, but anyway, thought I'd talk a little bit about the pros and cons of owning a truck camper. Kind of go through some of the things that I've found, and I'm sure there's more. But if you have some different pros and cons than me, I'd put them down in the comments so that I can see and other people can see. But anyway, we might go on inside. It's a little chilly out here this morning, but not terrible, but it is a little chilly. Beautiful though. But let's go in and we'll kind of go through some of these pros and cons. All right, it's a little nicer in here than outside. It's actually not terrible outside, but a little bit warmer in here. So anyway, I thought I'd just kind of go over some of the pros and cons that I've come across while owning a truck camper. So I think the first one, let's start with the pros to and go with them first, then we'll do the cons afterwards. And then after we're all done with this, maybe I'll show you around this camp area that I'm at. It's actually a camp spot. It's kind of up in the area that I've been in a lot. I was up here last weekend. This is the actual camp spot, camp area where they've got, spots for people to bring their trailers and stuff in. And coming up yesterday, I decided, you know what? I knew it was going to be snowy, rainy. So I was like, I'm just going to camp in here because there's probably not really going to be anybody here. There's one other person way down at the far end. So camped here. Got a little creek or a river right beside us. So I'll show you all that at the end of this. Anyway, let's start off with the very first one. So the first pro that I've found is it's a lot easier to park with a truck camper than if you're pulling a big trailer. It's like on my way up here, I just swung into the grocery store to grab some food, and yeah, you can park in your lane. You are a little longer, so you'll take up two. But yeah, a lot easier to park, a lot easier to get around town in tight spots. It's a lot easier to get into some of the camping spots. In fact, with my toy hauler, I couldn't even camp in this spot right here. So, but a lot easier to get in. I've had this in some spots where there's no way I could have got my camp trailer in. In fact, I don't know if you could. I mean, if you had a really, really small one, you could probably get in there. More like what I had when I had my turtleback trailer. Yeah, then you could. But far as a normal size camp trailer or a big one, this is way easier to get in and out of places. The only one thing you do have to pay attention to is you are tall, which you kind of are with a camper too, but you are tall, so you have to take into account of that so you don't wipe out the top of your stuff on your camper or down the sides or whatever. But so you do have to kind of pay attention to that, but definitely easier to get around. The second one, this is kind of the reason that I went to a truck camper. I wanted to be able to pull my Jeep behind. So the second one is that you can actually pull your toys behind your truck and your camper. Whether it be a Jeep or a boat or, whatever. Dirt bikes, four-wheelers, horse trailer, whatever it might be. Whatever you have, you can actually pull behind your truck camper. So that was kind of the big reason I went this way. And then once I got it, I really like just the truck camper in itself. It's just been, I really enjoy going out like this weekend, like last weekend. I just enjoy it. So just being able to pull whatever you have that's a pretty big pro for me. The third one is, there's going to be a lot less maintenance on the truck camper versus like a trailer that you pull. You're not going to have tires to replace. Um, and when it seems like on the campers that or on the trailers that I've had, I never wear the tires out. They're on there so long that eventually you just have to change them or you blow them, which I've done, and then it messes things up. But so you don't have tires that you have to replace. You don't have brakes to maintain. You don't have bearings to take care of. That's in the axles. I mean, there's just a lot of that stuff down there that you don't have on truck camper because it sits on your truck, and you have it on your truck, but you don't have that additional on a trailer. So just a little less maintenance than you would if you're pulling a trailer. So the fourth the fourth thing is, and you can do this with a pull behind camper too, but if you ever wanted to change your truck, upgrade to a bigger one, or for whatever reason, or maybe your truck's just getting a lot of miles on it, or you just want something different. But then you can always change your truck and still keep your camper. A lot of times when you have a camper, you kind of personalize it to yourself. I've done a little bit to mine, but over time I'll do more. One of the things I wouldn't mind doing is putting more solar. So somewhere down the way I plan on doing that. So you can put the money into all that stuff, and if you want to change your truck, you can actually change your truck and keep your camper. I know some of the YouTube channels I watch, so there's guys do a lot to them. So sometimes it's nice to be able to just keep it and not have to trade out. So, and then the fifth Pro, this is a good size amount of room for a person or two, a couple people pretty easily. And even if you have a child, like in mine, it might depend on the camper, but like on mine, my tables will fold down into a bed. So like when my son comes with me, we just fold this down at night, and he sleeps on this bed out here. So there's plenty of room for a couple people and like a child. If you had a couple kids, smaller ones, you could probably put two of them on here, but as they get bigger, probably not gonna fit as well. So, but it's actually, I really like it. I had a big toy hauler, 29-foot toy hauler, and I kind of like this space. It's got everything you need, and it's comfortable, and it's nice, and I just really enjoy it. So the next one, the sixth thing that and this could apply even to a camper or some other things, but I just really like, it's almost like a little cozy cabin in the mountains, especially like this weekend when it's been snowing and it's cold outside, and it's just nice and warm in here, and kind of hung out here last night because it was coming down. I mean, you go out and you just got wet quick because it's kind of a wet, slushy snow. Well, it was really snow, but it was wet. So when it landed on you, it just melted, and it didn't take any time at all. And my shoulders were getting all wet and everything. So we just came in here and hung out in a nice, warm, cozy camper. And I actually climbed up, watched a movie, and just enjoyed being up here. And you have the blinds up so you can see outside and see the snow coming down. is pretty cool. So anyway, that's some of the pros I come up with. Those are just some of the things that I've noticed. So now let's get into the cons. So I'm going to say I'm going to start with the first con, and that is the high center of gravity. Having a truck camper, having it on your truck, it does raise the center of gravity quite a bit. My truck's pretty tall. It's not like, I mean, I'm not lifted. I am leveled with bigger tires, so it is taller. But you do notice the weight on the truck. It's not terrible. Being a dually, I'm sure it's a lot more stable than if I was just a single tires on the back. But you do notice it. I think depending on what vehicle it is, you're going to notice it more on some than others. But you do have it's a lot higher center of gravity. I don't mind it. When I first bought the truck, or bought the camper, put in my truck, the first little bit was like, "Whoa, this is weird." But then after I'd driven a little bit, got the feel for it, I can cruise right up and down the mountain roads, and it's not a big deal. But there is a higher center of gravity, and you got to be aware as you're going through towns. I mean, there's some bridges that you go underneath and different parts of where I live that you'll take the top off. So you got to be aware of that. Most places that's not an issue, but some of the older bridges, you got to be aware of that. Know kind of how tall you are and what you can fit under. So the second thing, the second con is the propane tanks. On a trailer, they're kind of right there in the front, easy to access. On this, they're clear up on the side, and being my truck as tall as it is, they're kind of a pain to get in and out. In fact, it's a stretch just to turn the propane on. You have to pull them out and turn them on. The third con that is just the holding tanks are a lot smaller. Like your freshwater tank, generally on these is smaller. Mine, there's some that are bigger than mine, but then your gray water and your black water, they're all going to be smaller in general. So my toy hauler would hold 100 gallons. This holds, I think it's 46 gallons. But, and I think what's crazy is my little turtleback trailer that I pulled behind my Jeep, that's what it held, was 46 gallons. So, I mean, definitely a little bit less. The holding tanks, I'm trying to remember what mine are. I think one's 35 gallons and I can't remember what the other one is. But anyway, they're considerably less. Where my toy hauler, both the black water and the gray water were 45 gallons each. And then that's going to vary depending on what trailer you have. But in general, your holding tanks are going to be, freshwater and holding tanks are going to be smaller. Then the fourth one, which is kind of a major one, there's just not a lot of storage space in these. Mine, I've seen some that have more than mine, but I've got a drawer that slides out the back underneath the door, that I put like my hot dog sticks or whatever in there, and you could put other things there too. So you got that little spot there, and then there's one on the side of the camper storage deal. And I keep Gus's food and his bowl and some blocks, stackable blocks or whatever, so to level the camper, and just a few odds and things there. But it's not a real big space, and that's really all the space I have on the outside. There is a little compartment underneath that one, which is where my water is, but there's really it's not really big enough to put much of anything in there. That's just where your valves to dump your black and gray waters in there. You can pull and to drain your freshwater tanks and stuff like that. And I'll keep, I think I've got like the outdoor shower heads in there, just a couple little things, but it's not really big enough to put much in. So this one doesn't have a lot of storage space. I have seen some that have more. So that makes it a little more difficult finding places to put stuff. But for me, it's been fine. I don't have a ton of stuff, just being me and then my son once in a while. But so the fifth con is if you've got more than a couple, 2-3 people, it's going to be pretty cramped. I mean, for me, it works good because it's just me most of the time. But yeah, if you got a family of, with several kids, it's really not, it's not going to work that great for you. A camper would be way better, or a trailer pull behind would be a lot better, whether it be a gooseneck or not a gooseneck, a fifth wheel or a bumper pull or whatever, or even a bigger RV. It's going to be better for you. But anyway, so that's kind of my pros and cons. I'm sure there's more, and it probably depends on what unit you have. But if you have some if you have some of the pros and cons that are different, put them down below so we can see what they are. So that's my pros and cons. But anyway, so I'm going to end that part here, and then let's go take a look at this campground. I'll show you around a little bit and what it's like, and you can see all this awesome snow. It's not a lot of snow, but there's probably an inch. I don't even know if there's an inch. It came down really hard, but it didn't really accumulate a bunch. So anyway, let's go check it out. So here's the road that came in. You can see there's different camp spots down along the way. Got an outhouse right here. But then right here is our camp spot. And then of course there's more down that way too. Anyway, this is kind of a cool little spot. Back right in here, and then got a picnic table covered in snow. And then, you know, fire pit. I was planning on having a fire last night, but it was just coming down so much I didn't even have a fire. I just kind of hung out in the camper most of the time. We went for a few walks, but mostly hung out in the camper. And if you walk down out the back here, yeah, you can kind of see over that way. But yeah, if you walk down the back here, got a nice little river down in here. Beautiful area, especially with all this little dusting of snow. Yeah. Man. Yeah, it's definitely turning into winter. Anyway, yeah, so we got this nice little river that comes through here. And then, I don't know, it's kind of a nice little spot for a campground. I normally like to camp in places that aren't like this, but when there's nobody pretty much camping here, I actually don't mind it. With it being as wet it was, I thought, well, if I camp here too, probably not gonna be the mud and everything, but it's kind of frozen now, but yesterday it wasn't. It was pretty wet, but anyway. So this is kind of my little camp spot. See, if you look down here, you can see the mountains up there, the sun on them. But I don't know, it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's my camp spot. I'm actually gonna get headed home here before long. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one.